Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unscripted Coding. Today we have an amazing Christmas special ahead of us. We have, of course, a low poly Christmas tree that looks amazing from Polycraft, and you can see it in the Unity asset store. And of course, I'm wearing my Santa hat. Just to say that we are going to be tackling a Christmas-focused project today. The other thing that you don't see is that on the side here, I have my Oculus Quest. This has been in a couple videos already. So let me just share my idea really quickly. I thought it would be really cool to create a Christmas scene that we can see in VR full 3D. I actually have a very specific goal. I was trying to see if I can find a Christmas tree and just set it to maybe 10, 20 stories high, just to see how high I have to crane my neck to see it. But, there's a bunch of different Christmas assets that are free on the Unity asset store that we can play around with. This one looks pretty cool as well. Has the right atmosphere, and we can always scale up that tree. But basically, what I want to do is use Unity to create a VR scene. And if everything goes to plan, the end of my video, I will be interacting, just putting myself inside the middle of this 3D world and looking up at a gigantic Christmas tree. I think that might be a little ambitious because I have done very minimal prep work. I have just looked at the Unity documentation very briefly to know that, yes, it can export to Oculus Quest. That's about all I've done. I have not played very much with Unity in the past. I have done one of those tutorial things you find on the internet, but I don't really know what I'm doing. So we're gonna get started. First things first, you do need to install Unity. I think this is new. The last time I had Unity installed, they didn't have this hub thing. But what I did was download Unity Hub. It's like 150 megabytes. You install it. It becomes about 4 or 5 gigs in total. And from there, you can start creating a project. If I say new project, they kind of have a couple different options or samples that you could get started. But I'm going to be following a different tutorial over here in Oculus for developers. Couple first steps. Your Oculus Quest does need to be set up for development. So I have already turned on developer mode. You also need to install Unity, of course. I have done a clean installation of Unity. I haven't had it in a very long time on this computer. So this should be a clean version of Unity. And what we're going to need to do is actually install this where is it? XR plugin, and that will allow us to add interactivity to your VR applications without having to code the interactions from scratch. So I'm hoping that this will be able to just once we install that, once we get once we check the right boxes, that we can export our scene into the headset. So I'm probably going to have to do a lot more Googling on the side to get this working, but I am excited to see how difficult this actually is. All right. So, check it out. We have our plane, and you can see. Well, I guess my my hands are being recognized, but they don't show pass through. So, you saw my hand there for a second here. The controller doesn't show up either. So, you can see that we can actually grab objects and drop them. I am in a very odd position right now because I seem to be above the plane, so I have to move to move the plane up basically so that my feet are touching it, touching the floor. I'm just hovering above, and it's kind of disorienting. But nevertheless, check it out. Like, we have a cube, we can spin it left and right with the controller, if you can't tell. I think the camera's over there, my webcam. So, I have the joystick here. I'm holding the side button to grab the object in very classic VR fashion. And we're using these laser beams, the red line, to actually grab and move objects. Every time I grab it, seems to go to where my head is, so it's not perfect. But you can move things left and right and interact with them. I know it's not a lot, but this is definitely the first step. We have gone through a couple different options, and really, if you knew what you were doing, this would take no time at all to set up. So I'm just going to move right back to my computer screen. Hang on a sec here. And we're back to our computer screen. I found this tutorial to be the most useful so far, and I'll leave a link to it in our description here. But basically, what it seems like is Oculus had a Oculus integration package, whatever that means, but that is not the preferred way of building it anymore. You're using this XR Unity, which allows you to export to Vive, to Steam VR, to Oculus, of course, and a bunch of other ways to export it, and that seems to make a lot more sense. Unity is universal, so in theory we can get rid of this XR origin and export it as if it was a desktop 2D application. Now, what did we learn here? What I learned, of course, is I have no clue what I'm doing really here. So I was hovering above. That seems weird. It is at 0. You would think oh, okay, we put the origin off to a side somewhere here. So position should all be at 0. I think that should fix it. And really, all we need to do is put a bunch of Christmas trees, put a bunch of gingerbread houses, whatever, to populate that scene. And kind of where I wanted to be already. And that's as simple as adding a couple of these where'd it go? A couple of these assets right into a scene. And in theory, if I whipped up a 3D model in Blender, I can just drag it into the scene. So I'd have Blender open on the side here, save the file, drag the file into here, and I'd see a Christmas tree. And then, say this is a Christmas tree, I can just scale it infinitely large to 1,000 by 1,000, whatever it may be. So let's not mess around with this and put it back here. Okay, so we know what our next steps are, and I will keep at it. Hey everyone. We have been fiddling around with this for a little while now, and you can see that I decided to go nuts on the. I hope. Let's see if I can see myself. All right, excellent. You can see, of course, the Guardian. These lines are really quite distracting, so I'm trying to center myself in a pretty small space. Uh, I went nuts on the asset store. I bought some. Well, I took some free trees. You can see stumps. Some rock formations. Really just to play around with it. I threw in trees left and right. Of course, a ton of Christmas things, and of course, my giant Christmas tree. I went low poly everything, just to stay consistent, and so you can see the giant Christmas tree looks like a massive green tower more than anything. But if I were to get a nicer asset, I might be able to do a little something more with it. The other thing we did do is get some functional hands here. These are. Sorry, I'm trying to stay center so I don't see the screens. I see hands that we can function. Now I'm very disappointed because I just didn't have the time to really figure out the grab mechanic. I absolutely hated the red line where I can just point and move objects, but in this case, I was hoping to get some direct input, but not knowing very much about Unity, that makes it very, very difficult. Other than that, you can walk around. I'm going to be very careful here because my Guardian is not actually accurate. But in theory, if I was in a warehouse, I could run all the way into the distance over there where there aren't very many trees. Might run in that direction where there's something a little more interesting, more trees, more presence. I can move my head all around to take a look and look at the sky. There's a sky box that I also got. We're doing that twice a little bit. The colors are just a little pale. I liked the sun. I liked the blue and the brightness of it previously. But I could walk right through. Oh, see, running into the edges here. And I'm hoping to be able to rig this up so that I can use my hand and I can grab a package or something. Last things last, supposedly it should be fairly simple to add a bit of music into a background. You wouldn't be able to hear it anyways because I don't have it set up. But hopefully you can see that it's really simple, and we're doing Christmas, but the Unity Asset Store. Oh, the Unity Asset Store has a ton of different objects that you can put, whether it's mummies and tombs or sci-fi spaceships and so on. So actually very simple to do once you know what you're doing. I'm going to switch back to my computer screen so that we can talk about what we've done. Okay, so what did we actually do here? One of the interesting things I found, and it will be a challenge to figure out what the best way to do this is we followed a tutorial. Let me see if I can find it again. We followed a tutorial over here from Kyle Pastor so that you can have hands show up in Unity. This required putting back pieces of the Oculus integration package, and I wonder, and I can say I wonder, I'm pretty sure it breaks that ability to put it on Valve or, Steam VR, Vive, other kind of alternatives. I was actually hoping that it would be the see-through hand experience, and I was hoping that I wouldn't need the controllers and I can just use my hands. That's not the case, and I think I need other pieces of the Oculus, Oculus package to do so. We have used XR for everything else, and I think if I were to do this again, I'd stay clean on that area and just use these controllers instead. It seems like it's asked, so I don't think it would be very far off from having support for Oculus's hand detection. We basically just downloaded a bunch of materials and dragged it into the scene viewer. And if you zoom out, I threw trees and rock formations and Christmas stuff in here. And you can design a level, you can design all sorts of things here. There's materials, prefabs. Frankly, I am not sure what I'm doing. That's why you saw a lot of trial and error trying to get it working. And one of the frustrating things, and I think why I can't get the packages to just be grabbed, is I don't know why these packages kept falling off of the ground. And when I tried to mess with the mesh collider and rigid bodies, which I assume are collision and physics features, they'd all pop into the sky, or they'd fall off the edges, or they'd all kind of bump into each other and go opposite directions. So it was very weird, and I decided just to take out the mesh collider, keep it static so we have a scene that we can take a look at. But other than that, it was very, very simple. And now that you've seen it and I've done it once, I think I can just download a bunch of assets, throw it up in a scene in 5 or 10 minutes, and have something where I can walk around. Whether that is Christmas related, but you can imagine it would be pretty cool to have Halloween or some other themed area to look at. So I hope you guys had fun. I had tons of fun, and I am definitely gonna take this off screen and walk around a little bit more, take a look at actually making this a bit prettier, putting in my own assets. But I think it is incredibly cool that we're able to just create a world and throw it into a VR headset and basically walk in it. Can you imagine what that would have taken 5-10 years ago? And now, if you know what you're doing, you can do it in 5 or 10 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Come back next week and we're going to work on another project. But in the meantime, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your holidays. Thanks for watching.